Hey y'all, it's time to work out with Tina. Grab a few weights, whatever weight works. Maybe a resistance band if you have them, although the practice can be done without either. Oh no! Boops. We'll get started in a tabletop position, stacking shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. Tuck your toes underneath you. Hug your elbows out to the side and wrap them back behind you as if there was an imaginary block. Pick up your knees coming into a plank position. Avoid this arching in the spine by puffing up through the back of your heart and lengthening your tailbone down towards your heels, tucking the pelvis forward. Take a couple breaths in this advanced posture before rolling forward and back on the balls of your feet. Forward and backward, keeping the pelvis tucked, forward and backward. From here, pick up the left leg, plug it into its socket, bend the knee, and squeeze it up into your chest, trying to tap your left tricep with your left knee. And extend it back out behind you. Tuck it in, extend it out. Tuck it in and tap, extend it back out. Switch the legs, tapping the right knee to the right tricep as high up on the arm as you can, and back behind you. Up and back, up and back. A few more times like this. I don't really keep count. And drop the knees. Take a rest. Stand up and put your resistance band around the midsection of your thighs. Grab your weights and come to a comfortable stand a little bit further than hips distance apart. Set the ribs in the pelvis by avoiding this J-Lo booty, right? So we'll lengthen the tailbone, tuck the pelvis forward, take an audible exhale to strain the ribs in and down, navel to spine, and squat. As if you're sitting in a chair, bend the knees, send the weight back, squat. Keep a long spine here and squat. And squat. The resistance band and the weights are good because it'll add a little bit more mass to that ass. And squat. And squat. And don't forget to smile. Squat. And squat. A few more times like this. Keep breathing here. Pushing through all four corners of the feet. And squat. Last squat, pulse here up and down a few times, and drop the weights and hang forward in your forward fold, releasing the weight of the head. You can part the lips and take an audible exhale. Maybe take an inhale, halfway lift, and we'll move on. The resistance band or not, we'll come back into a tabletop position and begin our fire hydrants here. So winging the right knee out to the side like a puppy peeing on a fire hydrant and pulsing out to the side of the room. Using the strength of our quad and our glute to help us do so, and go slower than you want, really working through that resistance. Pulse and pulse and pulse. Keep it going. You should feel both quads and both glutes firing up. Pulse and pulse. Switch it out to the other side. Same thing. I'll switch sides so you can see. And really keeping the weight even in your shoulders here so you're not dipping more to one side. Keep puffing up through the back of the chest, the back of the heart, and wing the foot out to the side. Plugging the leg into the socket and moving through that resistance. Yes, nice. And a few more times. Okay, let that go. Tuck your toes under and slowly send your weight back for a downward facing dog. Just taking active rest here. Pushing through the palms, lengthening the tailbone downwards, keeping micro bends in the knees and aiming the heels towards the floor. One more breath like this, and come to lay on your back body with your legs extended towards the sky in a 90-degree angle. Interlace your fingers behind your head and keeping your low back flush with the mat, pick up your tailbone lightly, pick up your shoulder blades off the ground, keeping the elbows wide, or extend the wrists upwards like you're climbing a rope, reaching for your feet, crunching your abdominal muscles as you do so. Keep the navel pulling to the spine to keep that low back on the floor. And crunch here. Yes, breathing as you do so. Keep it going. Nice. Few more breaths. You got this. And drop the knees to the chest and wiggle out the feet. Come to sit on your shins and grab your weight or heavy water bottle and extend it overhead, bending at the elbows for overhead extension tricep exercise. Set the ribs in the pelvis, lengthen the tailbone, and begin pulsing that weight up towards the sky by bending the elbows and extending, bending and extending, bending behind you and extending, bending and extending. Try not to lock out through the elbows as you come up. Bend and extend. Breathe. What happened to your ribs and your pelvis? Pull the navel in and up and lengthen the tailbone downwards. Nice. Come to an L sit with your sit bones rooted and your legs extended out in front of you, keeping micro bends in the knees if you have to. Remove the flesh from underneath your sit bones to help you ground down a bit more. Send the weight of your torso forward and tint your fingertips somewhere out in front of you. Using the strength of your legs, dome through the back of your heart and begin to pulse the foot towards the ceiling. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Using the strength of that quad and that hip flexor to help you do so. Pulse, pulse. A few more breaths on this side. And we'll switch it out, coming to the left. Contract the muscles in that leg. Pulse, pulse, pulse. And release. We'll do something similar here, except coming into a straddle on our mat now. And you grabbing a couple objects as marker points. I have blocks here. I'm going to place them out in front of me. And same thing, I'll tint my fingertips out over my right leg, and I'll use the strength of my quad and my hip flexor to help me lift my leg up and over that object that I have. Contracting the thigh, pulling up on the ligaments of my knees, and plugging the leg back into the socket. Also pulling my navel into my spine. And I'll switch to the other side, tinting the fingertips, rounding through the spine, pressing through the floor, and picking up the leg over and over. I don't know about you guys, but this one kills me. For those who want to advance a little further, you can place the blocks on the outside of your legs this time and see if you can pick up both legs. So we'll place the fingertips on the inside, press down, and see if you can pick up both feet and place them over the blocks. Place them up and over, only going to a range of motion that suits your body today. Up and over, up and over. Coming back onto our shins, we'll grab our elbows with our hands and place them down on the mat about shoulder distance apart. Extend the hands out in front of you, parallel to one another. Imagine you're wrapping your triceps back behind you, holding that imaginary block, and send the feet back for a forearm plank. We're not staying here. We'll begin to walk the toes up towards the triceps, keeping a long spine as we place generous bends in the knees. Walk up as high as you can and try to keep your shoulders stacked over the elbows, breathing into the underside of our arms, our armpits. Yes. Few breaths here. Breathe into this intense sensation, lengthening while strengthening, and then drop the knees. I have a bonus round for those who want it to balance out all that push muscle with a little bit of pull work. So if you're near a scaffold or a pull-up bar, please get there. In this case, I'm using my hoop, which kind of will work the same way, and I'm going to work my overhand pull-ups, but you can use your underhand if that's easier for you. So jump up to the bar and we'll get started. So here I'm wrapping my elbows towards the midline and I'm pulling myself down to come up. I'm keeping my whole body taut, so I'm moving in one piece. It's easier said than done, but go for as many as you can, even if you're not lifting up all the way. If this is just not working out for you, just hang from the bar and crunch your legs up into your chest. You're still working those lat muscles that we're trying to get on. And keep breathing. For a final push, maybe an L-sit, bringing your legs up as high as you can out in front of you. And let it go. Thanks so much for joining me today for this strength-based flow using creative prop usage. I hope to see you again soon.